Hello, this is Paul, and I'd like to welcome you to our first session on BASE. It is a program within OpenOffice.org, and it is a multifunctional program that OpenOffice is very compatible with Microsoft Office in that they will open each other's programs. Now, looking at OpenOffice.org, we realize that there are many parts on it, and what we're looking at here on this splash screen is the interest of developing an effective database. We will getting back to this later on. We're accustomed to work with databases in a way of life, and the first thing I'd like to look at first is when we go to a phone book, we are able to look up a list of businesses in the Yellow Pages and be able to find somebody when we need somebody for a plumber, or if we want to get in contact with different services for getting our car repaired or a hospital. And most important, we go to the white pages to look up a personal contact. So we're able to find a lot of information with this database, and take notice that it is organized data that is able to make this effective. We take this information and make it a collection, the much more personal, in the form of a personal ledger or book that we write our personal numbers in, and we keep information in there that is much more personal. For example, we might keep people's birth dates in there or anniversaries, and have a list for making a list of Christmas cards to send out every year. There are many uses to be able to use this much more effectively than what the phone book is, of which is so much larger. Now, much of this information might be stored in a form of a day planner where it has a section for that purpose, but more often we will keep a count of what our different appointments are made, and be able to have our classes, if we're going to school, what we're going to, and be able to know what to expect each day. In a classroom sense, we will be able to know that we have one class that might have come together once a week, while others are coming together much more often. And we have this all planned out in our day planner. So with this, we're able to keep our appointments in order, know where we have to be, when we have to be there, and be on time for everything. And also, with the use of something like this, we will not tend to overbook or expect ourselves to be in two different locations at the same time. As I look back to my time in elementary school, it was shortly after I learned the basics of arithmetic that I was able to learn about writing checks. And this set up, of course, a form of a database to be able to handle finances. Now, we use checks to write our bills and get them out on time, and also we're able to use checks to buy things that we would like to get. And very most often is that we need a form of how to keep record of this, so that we don't make a check larger than what we're able to. And with this, we make use of a checkbook. And in this checkbook, we learn how to run a balance to know exactly how much we're able to spend and how much we are able to have to be able to meet certain commitments. Now, along with this database, we do get a statement from the bank, and we're able to use our checkbook and the statement together, that we are able to balance it and realize that they are in sync. So this is a very important thing that we have learned and grew up with to handle our finances. One of the important things we learned in this procedure about checks and checkbooks is that everything has its place as it is filled out on each part of it. The deposits on our ledger or our bank book will be in a single column, while our expenses or the checks that we make out has another place, and then we run the balance in another column. This is very typical for a database, that each field in a database has a specific purpose and it has a specific layout. These are two examples of how we develop our skills to work with a database that are both related to a personal structure in life, as well as setting up our abilities to operate in an effective business. It is our early development to know what bookkeeping is and be able to get certain results from what our goals might be. With this, we are going to look at some more examples that are of a personal nature. For example, we do have certain interests that we do like to record at times. When going to school, we learn the basic structure of our time throughout the day. We have different classes that we attend and be able to have homework assigned for these classes and know when it is due. With this, we are able to lay out exactly what classes are going to be scheduled for each day. For example, some classes might be once or twice a week, while others are much more often. So we have that recorded and know how we're going to meet our responsibilities. This is expanding our abilities to recognize an effective time management and being at places where we have to be. We also have a collection of much more personal nature. For example, it might be in the form of CDs. And this could be music CDs that are on different medias. It might be vinyl records or MP3 players or whatever the case may be. Also, computer programs are a collection of what has developed as we have our computers over a period of time. Now, many times I remember how I was in school, that I had a collection of records that was quite a bit, and to find out which records I had, I would have to flip through one record at a time as I looked for the one of my interest for the time. With a database, I would be able to look it up and have it organized and be able to make a much more quicker and logical decision. And this is another way that we can use a database to be able to know what we have and be able to find it when we want it. Another area of interest could be with our professional life or a personal life, and that is a collection of books. As we go to school, we have accumulation of books that often we're able to turn in, but others we're able to keep. So then we might build up a library of different books of interest. And in this, we're able to sort them out according to the classification and what they are for. For example, I do have a library with a number of books that I use for Bible study, and also quite a few books for cooking and baking, and most often I do have an addition of computer program books to add to my collection. With the use of a database, I'm able to organize these books and be able to have a quick access to them and be able to know what I have. This way, I don't have to buy a book that I already have, but use my own resources. Data, data, data. We got data going on around us that we don't even realize. And we even accumulate a lot of data that is on our own personal interest all the time. And the ability to organize this data will keep us ahead of what's going on around us. As we go into our experience on the web, much data is collected for where we visit the sites and also who we put in our Facebook or any other social network. So, data is a way of life today, and how you handle it and the knowledge that you gain by this will give you an advantage. In this portion of the first section of the base, why we have discussed what is data, how it affects our lives, and the accumulation of it. What is meaningful to you is what's worth recording. And in base, it is the best way, most economical way to be able to make such records. And we will get into more about what a database is and how it is structured in the next section. There are many different ways that data is stored, but in a database there is a definite structure, and realize what kind of data we work with.